Ladies and gentlemen, in the first class we have Kimberly Stephenson, Ruby Williams, Seth Stephenson, Francis Pastor, Scott Pastor, and Rodney Crawford. These girls range from 40 pounds to 46 pounds. Class number 2, be ready to come on. Class number 2, get ready to come on. Ladies and gentlemen, your third place is Weston Paxton. Leslie Millard. Your second place is Stockton Paxton. And your first place is Seth Stephenson. second class lieutenant arm, Ruby Philly, Bennett Stevenson, Cole Bay, Daphne Stevenson, Hunter Christensen, Nicole Pullen, Samantha Bailey, Ella Smith, Taylor Pastor, George Wardell, and Christian Lawrence. These dogs are running in from 40 pounds to 53 pounds.
a really nice place for us to go ahead and start. Congrats to that young lady. Really nice looking one stands here in second. In terms of elevation, levelness was fine with the hind leg that works right every time. I think that was very, very nice. Again, probably not as naturally down up high, especially right up the backside of her blades into the edge of her loin. I don't read that one as wide from behind either. Needs to be a shot stouter in terms of her upper pin set. Maybe just elevate that one in terms of her chest for an actual foot on both sides. But again, I like her at an elevation. I like her at a stretch. She is scouting her up with the young lady's weather directly ahead. Up high, I like this black-headed one quite a bit. Super stout, bold in terms of his rib cage, big in terms of his upper hip. He probably does have a shot of that extra bone that I'm looking for. Again, probably not as a lead from the side. A little bit longer in terms of his blade, a little bit funnier in terms of his skull. Doesn't quite have the stifle shape of the two directly ahead of him. But like I said, a really, really nice weather for the young man to go ahead and land this here in third. There's a lot to like about this one in fourth. Like I continuously say, elevation up front is awesome. Really long-necked and clean-chested. Now to stop my height, I really don't have any problems. He's got plenty of rack, plenty of rib cage, and plenty of line off either end. Again, his cycle shape is just okay. My problem with that one is skin and hair. A little bit coarser in terms of his height, a little bit plainer to the touch. But again, I like to look from the side. I just wish hands on it matched it. Another nice one around this out this particular class. Probably one of the stouter ones of this top five in terms of actual bone size and lift up line. And from the side is where I get a little bit picky on that one. What a level him up in terms of his top line, square him up in terms of his upper hip. You see that one stouter not only in terms of his forearm, but in terms of his skull shape as well. But like I said, a really nice one for the young man to go ahead and round this out of a really tough class. I am talking to these young competitors.
For your class number 2, we have in third place, Gold Lady, please give a hand. McCall Pullen, go weighing 39 pounds, will be your second place. And ladies and gentlemen, your first place, your second class is Daphne Stevenson. Coming into the ring is our third class. Will be Caitlin Harding, Riley Moore, Ty Draper, Lane Pullum, Skylar Lindsay, Caitlin Betty, Will Roach, Katie Sharp, Madeline Hunter, Adele Stevenson, Katie Mills, and Swayze Yardley. These dogs weigh 54 pounds up to 60 pounds. Class number 4, ready to come into the arena. Class number 4.
They go round and around her head. They go playing her in terms of the point of her shoulder. They get a really nice one to go ahead and land in third. Same story in her super big belt from cups here in fourth. See her rested up the backside of her blade, really shallow and round in terms of her rib cage. Probably not shallow in terms of her actual features, the one directly ahead of her. Again, top line gives me a couple issues. I like to strengthen her right out the backside of her blade. See her neck just a little bit neater the way she ties it on the top side of her blade. Rounds out of her head just an ankle. And then in motion, I don't really that one nearly as coordinated in terms of her hop placement. But again, super shapely, lovers in her body. Just need to make out a little bit more fun to look at. And then fix her hind leg ever so slightly to see her work up in this particular class. From the side again, I like this one. Stout skull, good in terms of his arm. About to have the shape of high. Not nearly as stout in terms of cycle. Not nearly as stout in terms of his bone work. Big job with that one in the middle portion of his spine. I can definitely see him work his way up in a hurry. But like I said, another really nice last finance off these competitors.
For your third class, coming in third will be Will Roach, who's going to weigh at 56 pounds. Second place is Alan Hunter, her go weigh 60 pounds. And your first place in class 3, Kate Mills, is going to weigh in at 60 pounds. That's the man, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to our fourth class, we have Ty Draper, Rob Shouty, Hans Wardell, Molly Bender on Greenway, Kevin Draper, Charlotte, Katie Wingard, Russell Stevenson, Ryan Moore, Skylar Lindsay, Adele Pullen, Berkeley Family, Evan Rogers. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our second and world divisions, and I will be Ryan Moore. Let's give Ryan Moore a big second and world division. This is your Class 5, be ready to take. Class 5, line up.
out in terms of her actual bone is the one directly ahead of her. Times her neck and just a little bit towards her on the top side of her plate. You can play her in terms of her chest form, and a nice one to go ahead and sit in second. Private Powerhouse comes here in third. Just becomes natural width at the surface. Graphical page, super big up high now. It's got it all going on. It's probably not my favorite to look at from the side. It's a little bit granular in terms of her bow work. It's a bit plainer in terms of her skull shape. Get in motion. Every double at least coordinated off behind two of that initial trio. But I like her adding lift and power. That's what gets her this far. That's a nice way to go ahead and land it there. Honestly, young man does an awesome job showing this down. He probably works another couple of spots or showmanship alone. Big footed, tall plated, jet level down the top line. In motion, I like this one quite a bit. Or quite a bit, excuse me. He's got some added flexibility to his hind leg when he's down in terms of the skull shape of that top board. He's playing this stuff high. He's an arrows right out the backside of his plate. An arrows off by the ring of the skeleton. Probably not so much off the flop in terms of his one edge, but again, like his look at the side. The young man does a really nice job presenting that one. Now put it early on comes here in fifth again. Like he had a feature, just arm laid into this one. Not some added extension up right. Lining up Scouter in terms of her upper hip is the one directly ahead of it. Then from the side, probably not my favorite. A little bit rounder to the edge of her loin, like a bigger tailhead up there, so slightly clean that one up in terms of her shoulder and chest form. But you can see her work her way up. I like her look. I like her added feature. Another really, really nice class.
For your class 3, for your class 4, number 3 is Ali Pulla. Second place is Berkeley 9. And your first place is Skylar Livingston. Let's give a big hand. Class number 5, we have Austin Stevenson, Jen Mark, Josie Hanson, Casey Mills, Andy Draper, Blake Pearson, Jay Saltzman, and Overton, Asking Denali, and then Kylie. Your third in rated meets is Jake Salisbury. He is in this group. Jay Salisbury, third in rated meets.
his anthropologies will get some up this far. Opposite end of the spectrum here. Awesome legged, really stout in terms of his feature. Probably a little stouter in terms of her skull shape as the one directly ahead of it. Quite the maybe changer in terms of her top line ever so slightly. Give her a little bit more genuine shape right up the backside of the plate. So again, I like her as a feature, I like her as a stretch. Just want to make that one much stouter. Another good one right into your bit, but again, kind of one that snuck up on me. Maybe they get the best view of it coming in the gate, but once it's stuck, I like this one quite a bit. Really tall shoulders, really stout in terms of his skull, plenty sound in terms of his hind leg design. Hands on, just okay on it. Probably a little bit thick in terms of his hind. Wants to pinch in terms of his loin edge. Like to pick that one up in terms of his tail set ever so slightly. But another really, really nice go. To go ahead and round this out in this particular class. Another nice class.
For your class 5, third place, Lady Pearson. Second place, Katie Mills. And first place is Kyle Brown. Class number 6 coming into the leader right now. Jay Salzberg, Johnson Christensen, Hayden Pearson, Ainsley David, Nicole Christensen, Christy Hansen, Macy Holman, Brock Holman, Jack Salzberg, Kimberly Clark, Ryan Orton, Finch Spencer, Joseph Hansen, and Nathan Hayden. Ladies and gentlemen, we have in the ring, Jet Salisbury is first in the rate of games. Give it a big hand. Jet Salisbury is first in the rate of games.
Again, awesome class, and like I said earlier on the sheets, it probably doesn't take a genius to find this chocolate head and really go ahead and win this particular class in terms of just having a relevant show up look. That one's got it going on. He's big chested, he's big armed, he's mongo legged, hands on, he's the best in motion, he's still the best. He's the most flexible in terms of his hind leg, he's established in his skull shape. Love his look from the side, that's a really nice one to go ahead and lead us off. Again, from the side, I like this thing quite a bit. Pocky tail, awesome headed, really exotic in terms of his front skeleton. Matches it down low with big pipes that work extremely good. Hands on, probably not as close. Pitch is just a nickel in terms of his rack, a little bit rounder to the edge of his loin. We can match that one up, we can have a discussion. Until then, it needs to stay that way. Another nice one lands here in third. In terms of being able to shape, I actually probably have a fair switch. This one's big up high, super square in terms of his loin. Super shallow and rounded in his rib cage, probably the naturally stoutest in terms of his cycle of that pair. Again, probably not as fun to look at from the side. A little bit rounder in terms of his belt work, a little bit longer in terms of his blade, not nearly as exotic in terms of his front 1/3 as the two ahead of him, but still that's a really nice go to go ahead and land third in a really tough class. Super stout one comes here in fourth. Big legged, big in terms of his upper hip, super stout in terms of his arm and his skull shape. Probably not as good on the touch. A little bit coarser in terms of his hind, pitches in terms of his back. Then wants to round out of his hip, causing his hind leg to kind of get a little funky in motion. But still, that's a really nice go to land in fourth. Halo quality, I like this one actually quite a bit. Super big in terms of his rack, really bold in terms of his rib cage, wide off right into the skeleton. Then like to pick that one up in terms of her tail head, bring that one to straight. It's all right into her skeleton. Also, with response in terms of her front knee. That's a really nice class, a really nice class winner. My hats off all these young winners.
Class 6, third place, Ainsley Bateman. Second place, Ryan Orton. And your champion in the 6th class is Sid Spincher. Let's go ahead, ladies and gentlemen. As we bring our 7th class into the show ring, Brittany Bateman, CJ Lindsay, Charlotte DeVos, Elsie Grover, Amelia Mill, Charlotte Bird, Paige Hilder, Sam Lyon, Jed Grover, Jed Salisbury, Lexi Pearson, and Logan and Larry Lewis. This is your class. Class 8, line up. Help us out here on your leg. Class 8.
not nearly as clean in terms of his chest or just a flying off by wearing the skeleton. That's still a really nice guy to get the Landis here in second. Love the look up front of this one here in third. Tall shoulder, rope knock in terms of his neck, level down his top and snout in terms of his upper hip. Getting in motion, trying to get a little critical on that one. He wants to lose his top line ever so slightly. Oh, that's not true. I read him the straightest off by wearing the skeleton. Want to fix in terms of his front knee and shoulder construction ever so slightly. But I like his look up front. I like his head stretch. I like his head hip. I just like to see him a little bit neater in motion. Go ahead and work in those two directly in front of him. Another nice go lands here in fourth. Kind of checks all the boxes. He's big enough footed. He's holding up in terms of center body cavity. Got some added sight for work into him. Obviously, it's not as fun to look at from the side. Next in, I'd like to see him tie higher on the top side of his shoulder. Buck over just to make in terms of his front knee. Not nearly a scout just about everywhere you look at him is those three up top. But still, that's a really nice being able to go ahead and make here in fourth. Good looking one around this out in this particular class. In motion, I love the added flexibility and set going to this one's hind leg. Got some added stretch in terms of his length of body and look up front. Got to have some more mass to work ahead of those four directly ahead of it. A little bit shallower in terms of his blade. A little bit coarser in terms of his height. His hands on. He wants to deviate in terms of his rack. Pretty down on the narrows at the surface of that top five. That's really flexible. Good time to just go ahead and round this out of another really tough class.
Class 7, in third place is Shirley Farr. Second place, C.K. Lindsay. And your first place in the 7th class is Lexi Pearson. Let's give her a hand, ladies and gentlemen. We're moving into our 8th class. Maddie Orton, Hank Green, Ray Nelson, Lauren Mills, Stephen Green, Ziggy Payne, Maggie Oppenheim, Devin Hooper, David Christensen. This is your class. Class 8. Class 9, be ready. Market Gold sponsors, Madison County, Skyler, and Daniels, and May. Great champion, Farm Bureau, Financial, Reserve champion, Stevenson Honey. Third place, trophies, is Rocky Mountain Power, fourth is Miller County 4-H, fifth is Miller County 4-H. 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th is paid by J.A. Bonds, and your 10th is Ardell Wash. Again, we'd like to thank the sponsors for being here with us today. We appreciate their kindness, always supporting the youth, 4-H FFA. We surely appreciate our sponsors.
Again, another very high caliber class. I like this top pair of them quite a bit. I'm just going to blanket label one of the stoutest and biggest and burliest. It's got to be this young man to go ahead and win. Up high, the thing's massive. Huge rack, giant boy. Second behind him, it's pretty obvious. That one is huge cycle, huge in terms of his upper head. And matches it down low. But instead of running gears, he's extra wide off either end of the skeleton. Is he perfect? No. He rounds out his English and nickel. Probably an equal overdone in terms of condition for me. I see him off the page on a really late match to go and win this class. Like the time to go this one here in second is. He's an nickel taller in point of his leg. He's a nickel better in terms of his head and shoulder shape. He's a little older in terms of his body. And I like his head. And motion right down the better too. He's more flexible and relaxed in terms of his knee. He's confident there's not as much to him. It's pretty apparent. Second behind him. He's not as stout in terms of his cycle or upper head. He's not nearly as massive right at the backside of his blade or in terms of his chest for it. But I like how to go that one is. Works his way up quite a bit in a really tough class. Good looking black head to go in is your third. Love the added feature, foot size, and just how shallow that one is in terms of his underline. Actually surprising that one's wide off either end of the skeleton. Really tough up in terms of his chest. Obviously, he's not nearly as stout anywhere as those two ahead of him. Like to fix that one in terms of his hip. Give him just a shot more cycle and genuine shape up high. We can see him run with them. Still didn't need to stay in third. Another really stout one comes here in fourth. And just in terms of cycle shape and back shape alone, that one works his way up to the top. He's wide, he's big legged, he's really, really stout in terms of his rib cage. And probably not as fun to look at. A little bit coarser in terms of his knee and shoulder. A little bit plainer in terms of his chest more. Nothing quite fits together as well in terms of his top line or when he's in motion. That's a really stout one to go in and fourth. Really nice on the exterior fit. Just in terms of flexibility, he probably works his way up a bit. I like his set to his hind leg. He's big and bold in terms of his arm. Again, probably the plainest to look at in that top five. Once the deviate just out the backside of his blade, kind of ducks and spins and drops his chest forward motion. Did another really nice high caliber class. My hats off to all those young competitors.
Ladies and gentlemen, class A, in the third, Steve McQueen. Second place, Lauren Mills, and your champion. Lauren Mills is third, Steve McQueen second, and the seat name was first. Give a hand, ladies and gentlemen, for class A. Coming in your final class, number 9, is Hayes Wheeler, Whitney Draper, Jackson Dickinson, Dario Lopez, Madeline Christensen, Ben Dickinson, Blake Pearson, Oakland Morris, Ronald Lopez, and Hayden Pearson. These are those weighing from 100 pounds to 123, class 9. First and second place goes, please line up. First and second place. Please line up.
flexible just about everywhere you look down, more attractive in terms of the set to his hind leg. He's quite a bit leveler in terms of his hip. And he comes with that elevation and tallness of the shoulder that I'm after. Still rated out with plenty massive enough to go ahead and win this particular class. Really nice way to go ahead and start. Short, squatty, and really bold comes here in second. Wide, all fighter in the skeleton, really bold in terms of his chest board, plenty stout in terms of his upper head. Again, it's not as much clarity that it is in the trouble for me, it's more of a build thing. I see that one rounder in terms of his shoulder, see him rounder in terms of his hip. Kind of wants to duck his hands and drop his front skeleton in motion. But again, I like his added width and mass, so he gets to this high. Another good looking one lands here in third. Tall shoulder, long neck, jet level down his top line, guts, and flexibility built into his hind leg. He's not nearly as down as those two ahead. Like to make a wider off higher into the skeleton, stout him up in terms of his upper head with pin set, give him just a shot more push to his cycle. We can see him work his way up because I like his build, I like his look from the side that much. Really big footed one comes here in fourth, got some added foot size and skull shape, putting wide off higher into the skeleton. Again, he's probably just a nickel past his prime in terms of maturity, showing some extra shoulder or chest, wants to deviate right out the back side of his blade, don't rate out nearly as abdominal motion, kind of comes with age. That's still a nice one that landed forward. There's pieces of this one in fifth that I really like. Again, super tall and elevated up front, massive in terms of his upper head with cycle shape. For me, nothing quite puts together nearly as well. A little bit forward in terms of his shoulder and knee, a little bit straighter in terms of his hind leg construction. We need to get that one just a little bit more balanced this way to work up. But another really nice class.
For your ninth class, third place, Haley Wheeler. Second place, Daria Lopez. And first is Ryan Lopez. Let's give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Now for our grand drive. We'll bring our first place in first, Seth Stevenson, Daphne Stevenson, Kate Mills, Skylar Lindsay, Kayla O'Pike, Dale Parker, Zeke Spencer, Lexi Pearson, Zeke Thane, and Orion Lopez in first place. Give them a large, big round of applause as they come into the arena. Nice job, kids. Your second place is Sutton Tasker, Akal Pula, Adeline Hunter, Berkeley Ganali, Kate Mills, Ryan Orton, C.J. Lindsay, Lauren Mills, and Daria Lopez. We want to remember our sponsors today. Best County is Skylar Danielson May. Grand Champion, sponsoring Grand Champion is Von Bureau Financial. Sponsoring Reserve Champion, Stevenson's Honey. Sponsoring third is Rocky Mountain Power. Sponsoring fourth is Millard County 4-H. Also sponsoring fifth is Millard County 4-H. Sponsoring 6, 7, 8, and 9 is JA Farms. And sponsoring 10th place is Ardell Wash. We want to thank our sponsors for the prizes they have purchased to help these kids out in their showing careers. And thank you, sponsors.
Again, earlier at a last Regional Sheep Show, and I've had even more fun Regional Scout Show. Honestly, the last time you hear me on the mic, so I want to go ahead and get my thank yous out of the way. I want to thank the whole crew here in Millard County for having me out here. It's been an absolute blast. I've really enjoyed working with your young people. I want to thank my family at home for taking care of our operation so I can go do these things and have fun. Again, I've had a blast. The livestock has been awesome. I'll be completely honest. There's one that kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. Relatively simply, I think a really, really nice one to go ahead and win. Then I think it's really, really close to reserve, third overall, and even in the fifth overall. I'll go ahead and show you which one I like the best. I'll take another look at it and pick you top 10. If you could, give these sheep go to Denver's a really big round of applause. They've done an awesome job.
Ladies and gentlemen, your grand champion, Cinch Spencer. Lexi Pearson is reserve champion. Stevenson's Honey sponsors reserve grand champion is sponsored by Farm Bureau Financial. Ace Names, third place, sponsored by Rocky Mountain Power. Fourth place, CJ Lindsay, sponsored by Millard County 4-H. It's your fifth place, sponsored by Millard County 4-H. And your sixth place is sponsored by JA Farms, Steve McQueen. Seventh place, Orion Lopez, sponsored by JA Farms. Eighth place, Dara Lopez, sponsored by JA Farms. Ninth place, Caden Mill, J.A. Farms, and your 10th place is Caden Mills. Let's give them all a big hand, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful job. Again, we'd like to thank the judge for these folks. Done a fine job. And for best of county, Daphne Stevenson. Let's give her a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Hand her out. Beautiful job, beautiful goats, beautiful animals, great families. We'll be coming back in this ring around 4:55 o'clock. Gentry, is it 5 o'clock for Sears? 5 o'clock for Sears. We'll be right